Lacrosse is sponsored by Jeep Renegade. It's how we live. 4 by Forever. It looks a lot more like January 9th than April 9th here at Villanova Stadium in Villanova, Pennsylvania. Today, we have the number 4 team of the nation, the Denver Pioneers, at 8-1, in to take on the 18th ranked Villanova Wildcats. So glad to have you with us this afternoon alongside my partner Rich Donovan. I'm Patrick Reed. Rich, these are two of the most prolific offenses in the country that we have on display today.
Denver's Conan Cannizzaro and Villanova's Jake Fricaro are dynamic scorers and tremendous offensive talents. This will be a high-powered scoring game today.
A couple of creative offenses. For Denver, no problems last week against Georgetown, pumping out 17 goals. Villanova, a struggle against Marquette on the road with just 3 a week ago in their Big East opener. Both teams have a conference game under their belts. Denver 1-0, Villanova 0-1. And the Wildcats looking to get back on track. They once had a 6-game win streak earlier this season, while Denver started the season unbeaten before a loss to Penn State. They got back on track last week. Snowy conditions here today in Villanova. That will certainly be a factor in today's game. Starters meet at midfield. And Rich, you've coached through some snow before. What's the biggest difference with snow on the field?
Fundamentals are so important today. The basics, scooping, moving the ball off the ground.
Pretty difficult to take cover from the snow on a day like this. Hard to believe. We've started the month of April in snowy conditions here in Villanova, Pennsylvania. Denver with a 10-6 lead on Villanova. Patrick Reed, Rich Donovan, Kaylee Griffin, our entire Fox College Sports crew doing a great job through the weather conditions today. Connor Cannizzaro, the story in the third quarter for Denver. 3 goals on 8 shots, more shots than Villanova had in the entire quarter as a team.
Interesting to watch Dan Sweeney and Sean Mail, the 2 long pole middies, actually digging out to get placement and some traction on the wing to come in on this face-off.
Baptiste had it for just a moment. Fricaro pushing it backward. And now John Moderski and Villanova in control. The Wildcats have not scored in more than 20 minutes.
Moderski's done a nice job on the wing on face-off play, and it's team face-offs. A lot of times we talk about Baptiste versus Fricaro, Baptiste versus Palmadesso, but it's a 3-on-3 face-off, and wing play is so important.
Jake Fricaro gets the first of the second half for Villanova.
There are many coaching cliches. The first 3 minutes of the quarter is one of them. Villanova cannot afford to stay down because it would prevent them from playing zone defense, and they do what they have to do. The nice pass again, Curran the initiator. Fricaro, catch, turn, and shoot. And Villanova with a badly needed goal to close the gap. And you see he catches it off of his right shoulder, but is able to spin. Patrick, all about your front lower hip on shooting. If your lower body's not correct positioning, your upper body can't follow.
And Jake Fricaro, no problems following through for his second of the day. He and brother Joey have combined for 3. And Joey Fricaro will take this face-off against Trevor Baptiste. Still on the deck now, picked up by Sean Mail.
Moderski had the last ground ball, and Mail with this one. The long pole's a factor on the face-off play.
The clear game, as we've seen it all day long, has been an interesting one for Denver. Their tactic has been to get it to midfield and try to follow and fire a shot into the empty cage. Dan Willis was playing out. This time the Pioneers will not win the race to the end line. Villanova will have possession. And we'll send it down to field level and to Kaylee Griffin.
Thanks, Patrick. I listened in on the Denver huddle after that third quarter. Although Villanova did just score, they were very pleased with their defensive effort, keeping them scoreless in that third quarter. On the offensive end, they just want them to not get into no man's land. They're afraid Villanova is going to be able to convert on those opportunities. They ended it by just saying 15 minutes, guys.
One of the other factors for Villanova in the third quarter, 8 saves for Dan Willis coming in relief. As was the plan today for Michael Corrado to have the 2 goalkeepers set up. Nick Testa got the start, and the junior Willis, it's his game to finish.
Denver quick to double as Villanova was changing through the box. Early slides from the Pioneers here in the fourth quarter. They are not letting Villanova get set.
Christian Cuccinello at X. Cuccinello rolls the defender and shoots low.
Big sweeping left-hand shot on the drive from X.
Jack Curran with a couple of assists today and a goal. Jake Fricaro rolling away from the pressure of Sean Mayle. This was a matchup that Michael Corrado told us would be a possibility today, and Jake Fricaro, no problems, breaking away from Sean Mayle and scoring his second of the fourth quarter.
The placement is off hip against the left-hand goalie. That's the sweet spot, and he's able to rip it. And Villanova with the first 2 goals of the third quarter. The entry pass and Denver playing a little soft. It's difficult to get out on a shooter because you're afraid you can't break down defensively, the field being so slippery.
Through the snow, the 5th hat trick of the season for Jake Fricaro. A big-time goal scorer at Princeton has brought that scoring here to Villanova. He has 34 this season. Movement on the face-off. It'll be Denver ball. First early movement call of the game.
And the officials on the face-off mechanics, it is a point of emphasis this year in terms of the rules. Willie Scroggs, former head coach at North Carolina, chairs the committee. There are coaches and officials, and what happens during the summer, they meet, they propose certain rule changes, they run pilot programs in the fall, and then institute it the following spring. Bob Schillinglaw, representative who enjoyed his 300th career win at the University of Delaware this year. He and Dick Garber, former coach at UMass, the only coaches with 300 career wins at the same school. Bill Tierney, well above the 300 mark at RIT, Princeton, and Denver.
Tyler Pace letting it go from outside. We're talking about the face-offs, 3 face-off violations in any half, a 30-second technical foul.
And every ensuing violation as well, so it is a penalty that carries a lot of weight.
Tyler Pace in control.
I noted earlier if Denver was up by 4, it would be difficult for Villanova to play zone because of the time of possession. But the fact that they closed the gap to 10-8, Mike Corrado very comfortable remaining in the zone that's been so effective. They really need a zone and then a special zone for Connor Cannizzaro.
Dan Willis fighting through the crowd. A couple of Pioneers around him. The net is empty as Miller looking to dig it out. It has been a difficult task all day long to try and secure a ground ball. Villanova secures itself a possession.
Denver called for the loose ball hold, and Villanova a little too anxious on the restart. They'll come back and reset the ball. You can't start running until the official blows the whistle.
Well, that is not at all what Villanova wanted. They wanted to just get off and running and try to add to their goal total of 8 so far. Villanova has come out swinging in the fourth quarter. A pair of goals from Jake Fricaro, answering the Cannizzaro show from the third quarter, where he had all 3. It has been a matchup of 2 of the best goal scorers in the country. Jake Fricaro, #1 in goals per game, coming into today's game.
Dan Willis's performance with the 8 saves in the third quarter really has kept Villanova in this contest.
The experienced netminder getting the call. Michael Corrado said this week that the save percentage numbers have been outstanding for Willis in the second half throughout his career. Therefore, the decision to go to him in crunch time. He's made saves on 73% of the shots that he has seen today. Villanova with another.
Jake Fricaro draws the early slide. Denver coming out on the big-time shooter, and he's able to distribute the ball, and Cerrone right over the top. Fricaro draws the slide, Cerrone on the slip, and Denver able to get there, but not to his gloves. And this is a one-goal game again. We were at 7-6, and now we're at 10-9.
Sean Cerrone already with a couple of helpers today. His first of the game, 5th of the season. And we're right back to a one-goal game.
With all the injuries last year to the Wildcats, Patrick, Cerrone wound up really being an integral part in carrying the ball, and that experience and playing time has benefited him as he enters his sophomore year.
Sean Cerrone led Villanova in points last year, had 24 assists, and was a second-team All-Big East selection. The face-off game has been an interesting one today. Baptiste trying to do everything he can. And Villanova and Joey Fricaro getting some help. John Modersky digging in, number 24 in white.
Unless you practice in the snow, you can't simulate this type of situation.
Now unsettled, Cuccinello goes to the front. And Villanova gets the finish from Danny Seibel. We're tied at 10.
Cuccinello muscles his way in, and the hold call will be wiped out. A technical foul is not assessed if a goal is scored. A personal foul would be. He fights through the hold and is able to drive the cage.
Christian Cuccinello using all of his 6-foot, 210-pound frame to set it up for Danny Seibel, who gets his second of the game.
The coaching point on loose ball rebounds is check sticks and bodies and let the goalie play the ball. But in this situation, nobody knew where the ball was, and Seibel, Johnny on the spot, throws it in the empty net to tie the game.
At the end of the third quarter, it looked like Denver starting to pull away in this one. Connor Cannizzaro with 3 goals. Now for Villanova, 4 in the last 4:58. Remember, they had a 21-minute scoring drought at one point in this game. But in the fourth quarter, Jake Fricaro with 2, Sean Cerrone with 1, Danny Seibel with the latest to make it a 10-10 game.
Credit Mike Corrado and the resiliency of Villanova. They've been down by 3 goals twice. They cut it to 1, and now they've tied it. And the advantage also about not having a Fogo, a face-off, get-off guy, is that you can win and keep that offensive player on the field, but it is a very demanding position to play. Face-off and run a full midfield shift.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that Michael Corrado brought Joey Fricaro to Villanova, an old-school type player who can get it done at the face-off X and on the offensive end as well.
Cuccinello posting up above the goal line extended. A lot of options there. You can front swing, you can question mark dodge, inside roll. And now the matchup Villanova wants. Jake Fricaro against the short stick.
Distributes up top. Jack Curran gets to the left hand, lets it rip. And it's backed up by Seibel, who made this a 10-10 game.
An opportunity for Villanova to go 1-1 in the Big East after their opening league loss to Marquette. Denver with the win over Georgetown looking to go 2-0, but the Wildcats giving the defending national champs all they can handle.
Curran rolls the cage, shoots, ready looking for it. And it goes to the sideline where it gets slowed by the Snow Ridge. It should be mentioned that Denver has never lost a game since joining the Big East. In men's lacrosse, 12-0 all-time since 2014. A couple of Big East championships as well. Cerrone on the head fake, lets it fly. Reddy got a piece of it and tipped it up over the crossbar.
The Wildcats playing with great confidence now, Patrick. The good cross-field look, wing to wing. Cerrone with poise, holding it, little stick fake. And again, as we mentioned, when you're the defensive team, you can't substitute. So Denver's playing a lot of defense right now, and Villanova with a lot of energy.
13 saves in the game for Alex Reddy. Villanova with a 9-2 shot advantage in the fourth quarter. With less than 7 minutes to go, this was a game where Denver looked like it was pulling away in the third. Jake Fricaro, Joey Fricaro steps his man to the front. Reddy got a piece of it. The follow by Cuccinello. Villanova has its first lead.
The rebound comes back to haunt the Pioneers again. Joey Fricaro with an excellent face dodge and shot, but Reddy, who's played very well, unable to control it, and Villanova finishes.
A snowy day in Villanova, Pennsylvania. Denver at halftime with a 7-6 lead on the Wildcats in a matchup of a couple of ranked teams here today. Patrick Reed alongside Villanova Athletic Director Mark Jackson. It has been an incredibly eventful week for your program. A men's basketball national championship in Houston this past week. Take us through what the whirlwind has been like.
I'm not sure if it's even sunk in yet, to be honest with you. It's been just a whirlwind, not only a week, but a whole month, starting with the Big East tournament and the success we've had that just kept getting bigger and bigger. And to finally get here after a big parade yesterday and to let it all soak in, just a magical month. Fantastic.
This is a city that's been starving for a championship, and that was evident seeing the parade yesterday, seeing the throngs of people out. Was that surprising to you to see that kind of turnout?
Yeah, it was. Obviously one of the most passionate sports cities in the world that loves their sports, and we hope that we can be the start to a number of the Philly teams performing well. Obviously Philly's known for its basketball, but this was just a phenomenal response to all our success, yeah.
And a response for you that is certainly welcome coming into this program and getting this taste of success so far. We have a men's lacrosse team on the field today that has had a fantastic season, a 6-game win streak. They've been one of the most prolific offensive teams under a Villanova alum and Michael Corrado. How do you assess their performance this year and what you've gotten to know about Michael Corrado and his program?
Yeah, I'm excited to dive back into it because with the basketball travel and schedule, I haven't been as close to it as I had hoped. And look, Mike knew going into the season the expectations were high, and he's delivered on them. Lacrosse is a huge piece of our brand and a huge piece of our athletic profile, and we need to have success, and he's doing it out here, and we couldn't be any more excited in terms of what they've done already this season and where we're headed. So we got a tough one here today, but hopefully we keep the momentum rolling.
It's your first year leading this athletic program, Villanova, with a great tradition, not just in basketball, obviously at the FCS football level, and a number of these Olympic sports as well. How do you look at the department as a whole right now in this first year and what you see, what you like?
Yeah, well, I'm excited about, the really important things, the way we graduate our student athletes. So we're a really big department. We have 24 sports. We have 550 athletes. We're coming off a fall semester where we averaged, our GPA was 3.2. Our kids are going on and leading fantastic lives well after sports, which is the most important thing. But beyond that, we're also competing for championships. When you think about, track and field, one of the most successful programs in the history of college athletics, and football and basketball and lacrosse and what we're doing in soccer, it's I think the future's bright, but we have some work to do. We have some work to do. When you think about this men's lacrosse team, and we're not fully funding the sport right now in terms of its full scholarship allotment. Think about where Villanova lacrosse would be if we were to fully fund it, and that's my job, is to go out and find a way to do that and provide the right kind of facilities and staffing and resources to allow them to compete like a top 10 program, which they are already.
Oh, the results are there today. It's a good game against Denver here, a
is.
1-goal contest. Mark Jackson, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Best of luck, great success, and continued success.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
It's halftime at Villanova Stadium. His Wildcats trail Denver by just 1 as we get set for the third quarter. Highlights and stats on the way.